Okay, so I know it's been a while. It's been a very long time since I last posted a video, a upload, although you probably wouldn't know that because, there's no videos appearing on my channel. But we'll get into that. There's a reason for that because I haven't posted a video since June 22nd of last year. And today is July 7th of the 2017, or probably the July 8th if you see this video at the proper time. But if you can't tell by the title of the video, it is time to announce my Ace Combat Infinity retirement. As you can see, I have Ace Combat Infinity pulled up right here. Some of my supplied fuel is missing. That's because I did play the team deathmatch or whatever ring battle that was. Now, lucky for you guys, there's going to be a few interesting things in this video, but man, has it been a while. Haven't posted a video in over a year, and missed a lot of great things to talk about. Obviously we have a couple big things. Donald Trump getting elected. That was pretty big. Something that of course I missed out talking on. Cubs winning the World Series, the crazy Super Bowl. Everything that's gone on with the new Trump presidency and everything. So a lot of big things that I've missed, but basically I've just been extremely busy. Really haven't had time to post any videos, nor do I really have a desire to post any videos, especially since my desire to play Ace Combat Infinity isn't real high. But I figured what I'd do is at least complete the one goal I had for the game, which is to upgrade this bad boy to level 20. Now, if you guys don't know, I think it was last weekend, I spent a lot of stock fuel trying to get the F-4 up to level 20, able to upgrade to level 20. As you can see right there, I have more than enough credits. I actually placed pretty well in the ranking event, which was, I believe, the Tanabata battle or something like that. Yeah, I guess it's still going on, but if you check my ranking here, I'm within the top 275, 300, I guess you might say. I mean, obviously I don't have enough points to compete with the top rank, but I'm surprised there's no, UWSP Jason Chan. And I mean, if you don't see him up there, then this game is just totally, it's sad to say, but Ace Combat Infinity, you gotta remember, this game has been around for what, more than 3 years? 3 years, right? And Ace Combat Infinity, they gave me 1,000,000 credits, so that certainly helped out with the upgrade. But yeah, I did pretty good in the Tanabata battle ranking, but I figured I'd go through my stats, I'd upgrade the F4, and then finally call it a retirement on my Ace Combat Infinity career, which obviously has been a long time coming. So I figured I'd take a look through certain things that I may have, such as my comeback bonus. I haven't played this game in forever, and I have all these great goodies that they're giving me. And yeah, not really putting them to any good sort of use, as well as the sign-in bonuses and all those other great things. Oh yeah, I didn't realize that they added to exchange. I've been out of the game for so long, out of the loop for so long, that you can now exchange reports. So obviously I exchanged all those parts research reports for the aircraft research reports, and I got this bad boy up to level 20, the F4. So now I just have to upgrade it. Items list, obviously a lot of gift items. Back when I would play the game a lot, I'd be very stingy with how I use my mercenary contracts and research contracts. Obviously didn't pan out quite well, but I see all these new items like level cap, increased request forms. I don't even want to know what any of that is. Oh yeah, I do have over 3,700 supply tickets, so that's something special. And the best part is I can't spend them on anything. So then let's take a look at my stats. So my playtime, quite something. I played this game a ton back when it came out in 2014, like hours upon hours. And as you can see, the clock's still ticking. 298 hours, that equates to roughly over 12 days played, which is a lot for a free-to-play game like this. But I mean, again, this is Ace Combat, and this was, the legacy conglomeration Ace Combat, which would bring all the good things together. Over 1,000 combat sorties, well over 1,000. Over 74 million credits. I remember doing Ace Combat marathons every weekend years and years ago and just racking them all up. This is before stuff like 6x4 sorties exist. You had to do 3. Now, airborne enemies shot down, total ground enemies destroyed. Obviously, if you guys know and you watch me, or if you have watched me, is that I'm much more of a ground pounder than an air fighter. Although I have found now that when I've played games, I really like to go after the air targets a lot more, simply because it seems like all the ground targets just vanquish. So that's that. Machine gun kills, whatever. Machine gun accuracy, I'd say, is pretty good. Now, in terms of the planes I fly, obviously this multi-roll stat is inflated quite a bit because I pretty much flew the F-4 exclusively after the first few months of Ace Combat Infinity. Although back in my early days I would use other aircraft. That's why you do see, other usage, as well as the YF-23, which I would fly on occasion. Bombers, piston aircraft, I hardly flew at all because I just think they sucked. The team deathmatch or whatever that you would fly it in, I think they were pretty terrible. Bomber sorties, obviously I acquired a B-1B, earlier on in the day. But I didn't really fly it all too much. I kind of experimented with it a little bit. You guys got to see, or at least hopefully some of you got to see, what happens when you throw a bomber in with flight assist. It's just like bouncing all around. Total flight distance almost 100,000 miles. So you think of a car with 100,000 miles on it. Sorry for all you foreigners out there, but here in America we do miles, and miles is the unit of measurement, so I'm not changing that. Mission completion rank, obviously an S. I would consider myself a very fair Ace Combat player. Never a seal clubber, always conscious of other players, always finishing out the missions, as you can see by an S completion rank. Basically those kinds of things, except in the early days when I had old Wi-Fi that was pretty crappy. My mission completion rank suffered a little bit, simply because I was just disconnecting from games because my Wi-Fi was so bad. My rank, Colonel number 99, don't know how good that is, but it's what it is. Total acquired experience, 592,000. I don't know how they calculate that. Now, in terms of the aircraft I use, this shouldn't be a surprise to any of you at all. My F-4 holds the most sorties at 333. Obviously, it also holds my highest score and my highest average score, simply because I just flew this aircraft so much. Pretty much almost exclusively after a few months into the game, when I really focused on it and getting it leveled up high, which did pay off for some of the limited time team death matches where they focus solely on beginner aircraft in the beginning. As you can see, I've flown some other aircraft, some other beginner aircraft. I did fly the F-4G a lot in the beginning as well with the F-4E, but that was back when aircraft were capped at level 10, so it didn't really flying the F-4 didn't really, I could fly both of them pretty much. I did fly the Harrier a little bit back in my day, but like I said, these special variants like the Kim Abba, which I was planning on upgrading, that was all thrown out the wayside when I focused solely on the F-4. As you can see, aircraft I purchased, the F-14 was another aircraft that I flew a lot back in the day, in the early days when I was still upgrading the F-4, because it's absolutely atrocious in the beginning, because I mean it is the beginner aircraft after all. The Desert Rock was another one I was planning on upgrading, but again, when I was upgrading the F-4E exclusively, that got thrown out the window. More aircraft. There's the B-1, the only bomber I flew. As you can see, 32 sorties as well. A-10. The F-117 is an aircraft. Interesting. This has got me one of my highest scores. It's only like 10,000 less than the F-4 has got me. Actually, I think I have a higher average score with that than I do with the F-4. The F-117 I'm a pretty big fan of, but again, that kind of got thrown out the window after the beginning of the game because, like I said, I focused solely on upgrading the F-4E. And of course, I have the F-22, which I flew before. I got the YF-23, which is like my only other aircraft that I'll fly, when I have to fly a fighter, which has also got me a pretty high score. And of course, who could forget my bomb cut, which back when that plane was the total meta game, you just go on weapons-based assault and trash everything. That had one of my highest scores at the time until I eclipsed that somewhere with my F4. But obviously, my average score is so high in that thing simply because I would take that on weapons-based assault. And this was before it was determined, the cancer of the game. And this was before, obviously, the unguided bomb nerf. I would just take that thing and just trash everything because the F4 wasn't a high enough level to compete at that point yet. Obviously, it is now, and that's what I fly now. This thing is just sitting in a hangar collecting ducks. And who could forget the Block 1, the first special aircraft ever, and it was absolutely terrible, and I flew it once, and I never flew it again. So 1,084 sorties in the co-op missions. I know that doesn't match. Matching rate of 1965. Obviously, this has dropped a little bit from my highest recorded matching rate, which, if you notice, the date on that is, back in my heyday, back in my prime when it reached the top of 2077. That's 2014. That's, like 5 months after the game first came out. That's kind of when I was playing it the most. Pretty good average score. Highest score obviously achieved by the F4. Right around the same time I hit the highest matching rate. Probably was going on a hot streak there. 739 team victories out of 1,084 sorties. That's like about 75% of games. I was always a guy who always focused on the win more than individual performance. That's probably why my matching rate lags a little bit. And out of those, about more than half I'm selected as the MVP. So out of the victories. So all in all, I think those are some pretty good stats. Emergency missions, 905, enemy link kills. This is all just a bunch of blah. Number of successful raid missions, 97, 562 S ranks. That's about half, again, of the sorties. Missions, surprisingly, Pipeline is actually my best mission, or my most sorted mission, I guess you might say. Which is strange because I don't remember playing it all that much. I remember playing Alps a lot back in the day and weapons-based assault. And obviously that's where I got my highest score because, back in the day when unguided bombs were totally broken and you could just spam them everywhere and they would reload so fast and they'd have such a big blast radius, that was what you would do, and you would go on weapons-based assault and you just trash everything. So obviously that's where I got my highest score. Some pretty high scores on all these other maps, but as you go further down, like all these hard battles they introduced later, I never really played those. Emergency missions, right? Excalibur, I've never even played Excalibur. I played Emergency Airstrike for the first time like last weekend, so kind of getting new. And then you have all these performance evaluation data. I mean, this is just, whatever. And obviously, my highest sorted special weapon is the unguided bomb. Always got to go with the Iron Hammer. That was my best weapon. So, parts, whatever. Total number produced aircraft, 258. Parts produced, total amount spent on production, right? And of course my rank up data, which I believe I started playing the game, right around when it came out in May. Obviously rose through the ranks very quickly because I was really playing this game. I was really into this game. I was really good at this game. And things didn't really start to slow down until around, I want to say like right at the beginning of 2015. And as you can see, I didn't hit Colonel until December of, roughly a year and a half ago, I might say. So that's when things started to slow down. The game, the whales, everything started to get to me. So those are War Dog 3 stats. My settings that I always use, I used to use Flight Assist a lot back in the day, but I actually took it off because it started to become more of a crutch. Always got to keep that controller vibration on. But a veteran pilot like me, I don't really need, Flight Assist. Control type, obviously expert. I'm no UWSP Jason Chan or any other, SEAL clubbing noob who just sits it on standard and just goes around destroying all these little SEALs. That's not me. Obviously I want to change that back to expert. And obviously my radar map switch weapons, I'm a Ace Combat, you know, veteran, so the whole switching weapons with square isn't really, you know, a thing for me. I prefer thankfully they have these options, you know, switching weapons with select and having the pressure radar, which is what I'm used to. Screen display, you know this, obviously units in distance and feet, because this is America. America always. Never was really a big fan of this reflect aircraft altitude on radar display. That's not how it was in the old games, so I didn't really utilize it. And yeah, so those are all my stats settings. What I would do in the Ace Combat world. Now, as far as you know, the hangar and stuff goes, I've been browsing around, and they added this new skilled metal pilot exchange, which I only have 23 of. And I got really excited because I saw this, the F-4E Mobius 1. I was like, wow, they actually put that in the game? This is legendary. Like this right here, this is like my wet dream, right? I mean, just look at that thing. I mean, that is one dope looking aircraft right there, if I do say so myself. One mighty fine aircraft right there. And but the problem is it's 1,000 skilled aircraft medals or whatever it is. So won't be getting that anytime soon. Won't be getting it ever. I can just say that with 100% certainty. I don't even know how you get skilled pilot medals. I don't even know how I got 23 of them. But I'm surprised that an aircraft as low as the F4 and just in a special variant is 1,000 of these. You know, something like the MiG 1.44 Hamilton. Obviously, I assume that's really high, so I can get if that's 1,000. But I've been looking through and just like this is really nice, an F-117 with the stars and stripes, but that's 100. So it seems like a lot of these are just way overpriced. If I could exchange my supply tickets, which you can see in my lower right, for some of those, I would definitely do that and try and get the F-4E Mobius one, although I am announcing my retirement. So that probably wouldn't end up happening anyway, so not a big deal. But I have way too many supply tickets. I have I have over 3,700, and some of these are like only 400. The tops are only 400, so that'll go to waste. Although I do like some of these aircraft, like the F-18 Jai Rogers. That looks pretty nice to me. You know, never played Ace Combat 6, so I don't really care about the CFA. I believe R101 was from Ace Combat 3 or somewhere around that time. I started Ace Combat 4, so I couldn't really tell you. And I haven't really read up on my lore. And of course, you have all the idle master planes, which a lot of people are fans of, but I'm just not. So, yeah, plenty of supply tickets. I mean, like, look at this. If you ask me, this just looks silly. But, you know, to each their own. And I've also been looking through stuff like the aircraft tree, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous, right? Like modified high-power air-to-air missile. Who has this? Why is it even there? The LAAM. I would probably just pronounce that LAM. Like why? Who? A long-range air-to-air missile. Whoop-de-doo. We got four. You know, we got XMAA, XLAA, right? All these long-range missiles. And then I take a look and I say, MAGM. Well, we already have LAGM. What's the big difference? LACM. A cruise missile? Well, I thought this was a cruise missile. Like all just this stuff to just, I feel like, just take money, just like sap every last ounce of money out of these players. Unguided bombs small. Who has the unguided bomb small? Right? I thought it's just an unguided bomb now, right? Now they have an enhanced GPB. What's wrong with the GPB? How are you going to enhance that? More damage? I really don't know. And then I can see they added some super weapons in here like the EML, which I believe that's on the Night Raven from Ace Combat 2, if my memory serves me correctly. Like rocket launcher small. I thought it was just a rocket launcher. I think this might be for piston aircraft. I don't know. I haven't really touched up on the game at all. Like multiple launch standard missile. I already have standard missiles. This is from Joint Assault right here. This is just like extra missiles. And I can see they added the Shockwave missile as well. So just like a lot of extra stuff. And then the aircraft tree. Like really, like I remember back in the day when I used to have everything on here. And now I look and I just have nothing. Right? It's like the tree is like totally been extended. Like what are all these parts just hanging out right here? Right? And I mean, I take a look everywhere else. I can see they added places like planes like the A-6E. Sorry, my Snapchat's going off right now if you heard that buzz. They added stuff like the Adler, which I think was the prototype of the Falcon, but like I'm not getting any of this stuff, right? The Morgan, even though there's already a Morgan, which I believe is Pixie's Morgan. The MiG-35, which I haven't even heard of. I haven't even kept up probably on my aircraft history. You know, you have the Fenrir. That was from Ace Combat X. That was an interesting aircraft. CFA. Here's the Night Raven right here. This is what I was talking about. Although that doesn't seem to have an EML. I don't know what does. The XFA, again, another aircraft. But just all these, Varkalok from Joint Assault. But all these aircraft just new, and the XO2 from 4, 5, and 0, and everyone else. They added the Strike Raptor, but just so many, and it gets even worse. Like, look at this. Look at all these aircraft. Is this really necessary? Just like, look at this. I mean, I'm totally zoomed out, right? I go in like I'm just going forever and ever and ever, and the line just goes down and down and down, and it's like, man, this is crazy, really. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for, to mark the end of my Ace Combat career, we are now going to upgrade the F4 to level 20. So here we go. I finally accomplished it. I at least got the one goal I had, which was maxing out the F4. There we go. You can now use a new nickname. No plans to retire. How ironic is that, really? You know, planning to retire after this. No plans to retire. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. But yeah, that's as high as the F4 will go, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't know. Maybe they added it to level 25 now. Who knows? But look at that. My credits went all the way down to 3 million. I mean, why don't we upgrade the unguided bomb to level 5? I'm pretty sure that's about as high as, yeah, out of 5. Why don't we get that to level 5 as well? Just max everything out. So there we go. There's the level 20 F4 that is maxed out. At least I did it with the level 5 unguided bomb. So there you guys go. Way to kick off the end of an era. With my retirement, we're going to leave upgraded. We finally did it. We finally did it. Now, about everything else that's happened, you probably noticed that none of my videos are showing, and that's because I'm kind of at a crossroads here as to what to do with my channel. I'm making this obviously to keep you guys updated and to show you that we finally completed the goal and we can put Ace Combat Infinity to rest. Who knows, maybe I might come out of brief retirement to play a mission or two. But honestly, guys, like you can see, I don't have it in me to play. I don't really have the time to play. I don't really have the skills to play anymore, right? Like my match rate's not what it used to be. But I'm kind of at a crossroads as what to do here, because Ace Combat 7 isn't coming out till 2018 now. Which, you know, I have my thoughts on that, which this video is kind of getting pretty long, so I have my thoughts on that. Might have my thoughts on that later. But I kind of privated all those videos for now, because I'm kind of trying to decide what to do with my channel. So don't worry, you know, this video went up. I'm still alive and well. But I don't know what to say. I don't know if those videos will be coming back. I don't know what's happening with my channel. It's all up in the air. But I figured I'd keep you guys updated with a video, even if it's been a year later. So yeah, guys, maybe I'll see you in a little bit. Maybe I'll see you in a lot. But at least we got the F4 to level 20. We got the unguided bomb to 5. That whole thing completely maxed out. So at least we put the goal. We made the goal happen, and we can finally put this game to rest, because man, has Ace Combat Infinity worn out its welcome.